Hi everybody. Afternoon if you're in the Pacific, or evening if you're in the later time zones. Oops, hold on. Apparently I didn't mute my tab. I can hear it. There we go. So I'm doing impromptu reading streams while I'm on my LA trip during my lunch hour. So these will be quick streams. And we're going to be reading the LOK. I'm going to start this book today because I'm going to get to see the author next weekend when I go over to Los Angeles Comic-Con coming up soon. There we go. Music. Or sorry, the waves were like a little loud for me. Yeah, so I get to see and hang out with the author Tommy Rice, who is actually a former NFL footballer, American football. He used to play for locally here in San Francisco, my hometown, for the Oakland Raiders, and then he moved up to the Seattle Seahawks after that. So I got to meet him through my industry contacts with Legion M at an after party at the last LA Comic Con. I keep running into him at other conventions. So he's a pretty cool guy. So I got his book this time around. So after his panel this weekend, I can actually say hello to him and get him to sign my book officially and take more pictures, and probably see him at one of the after parties. So that should be a lot of fun. So he's actually a pretty big nerd when it comes to sci-fi and Dungeons and Dragons. So it was like a natural transition for him when he decided that he was gonna write a book and in that genre. It's not a genre that I've explored before, but I figured I should brush up on it and read up on it before I say hello, so I can actually say, hey, I've started reading your book, can you please sign it? Okay, so we'll read the caption and the blurb in the back of the book so you can familiarize yourself with the world if you are not. But before that, I think our battle is going to start. Well, no, I'll read the blurb and then we'll do the battle. The king is dead. In a coup for power, the Rasium, aliens to the planet, and once allies of Federation, spit on their oaths of peace, assassinated the king, and now search for his son, the young prince. The prince, like his father, is a mage, or LOK, and the last of his kind able to reopen the magical gates known as the Labyrinthian. The prince has disappeared, and with no clear leadership, the world of Partha has been thrown into conflict. One of the few remaining Spartan paladins, thank you for that, one of the few remaining Spartan paladins, warriors of the King's Guard, survived the assassination. Bloodied, alone, and driven by his honor and duty, the Spartan searches for the prince, as any true paladin, must do. He must overcome his troubled past, as well as his uncertain future, if he is going to protect the boy from the Rasium's wrath. This is an epic adventure with friendship, combat, and romance, as we follow the prince to unravel the mysteries of the Labyrinthian, and the Spartan as he searches for the prince to see if it truly is the LOK. Honestly, that one of those lines actually sounded like the preview to The Princess Bride. Friendship, combat, romance, it's like everything under the sun. All right, let's switch over and run the battle really quick. And I will continue to run my battles offline, as I usually do, while I'm working. All right, we got scaled up slightly because of those darn bots. And thank you, Fox, for giving me that hint. I had to reset the level after they send us up too high. Unfortunately, we did not make it on that one because we did get scaled up. Sorry guys, maybe the next one will be slightly better. So we shall see. Yes, we'll retry. I hate it that I have to use the retry tokens. But I guess that's what most do. And it is the you know, boss fight at the end of this level. So it's bound to be slightly difficult. All right. And I'm still trying to, oh no, I killed my armored units at least. Okay. So I don't have to keep putting down warriors. Let me finish that down. And to properly try and get rid of the boss, let's try and do, oh yeah, my warrior. Let's try and do some artillery and ranged effect. So if you got those would be very much appreciated. You know what? I'm gonna switch our category to stream winners because you guys have drops right now, so it would make sense. Let's go over here. It would make sense if you're watching, get those drops. Let me just change it really quickly. I'll switch back to reading fun tomorrow because the Cyber Monday drops for stream readers will be done, so we can have the right setting for that. Okay. It's a little difficult trying to get my setup to work in the hotel room, but I'll manage, so bear with me guys. Okay. Let's see. So it sounds like a pretty good story. We'll see how it hashes out. All right. So, The LOK by Tommy Rice. Seeing a lot of chapters on here, so I'm hoping it's like short chapters, which will make it really easy. It's like 31 chapters. Will make it really easy to find our stopping point when my lunch hour is done in, you know, less than 50 minutes. Okay, so there's an introduction. A verbatim copy of an induction speech given to new pupils of the White Tower, recorded in a book of intellectual records, Master Omno. I'm guessing this is from the world. Class, let us begin. Please look at your notes. The Razium, a purple-skinned alien people whose unending wars destroyed their own worlds, took what was left of their armada and fought their way across the stars to find a new world they could inhabit. They settled here, Partha Terra. Our planet was in a time of peace and recovery after the Dragon Wars, an arcane world. We were just coming into our own steam-powered industrial revolution. The Razium and their Zageist masters thought us a backwater planet populated by savages and felt that even in their war-ravaged state, we would be easily conquered. Agesilaus, king of the Federation of Ultima Thule, the most powerful continent on our planet, was a magic user. Warlock, or lock. Oh, that's where we get, that's clever. So for sure, you're not a warlock, you're just a lock. A lock in the common tongue. As you know, as you are all trying to become one. So apparently the White Tower is where these locks go and get trained. A LOK is able to control the power of the Tempest. Hi, Sully. How are you doing? Thank you for placing. I saw you placing earlier in my offline stuff. We're doing some quick book reading while I'm my lunch hour. A LOK is able to control the power of the Tempest. That sounds like the Force. That power allowed our king to use the doorways of the magical gates of the Labyrinthian to meet this new threat on its own ground. As the Rasium warships entered our atmosphere, the king acted. To the surprise of the Rasium, he led an armored guard of Spartan paladins to the bridge of their flagship. He and his warriors stepped directly from the Labyrinthian gate onto the bridge of the ship itself. Wormholes? Teleportation? The leaders of the Rasium, now wary of the king's power, asked for parley, which he granted. After the meeting with their leaders, the king agreed to a truce. Both races prospered from the knowledge that was shared, us from their technology and them from our magic and runes. For a time, our peoples coexisted, but we were deceived. What the Rasium wanted wasn't peace, but power. They wanted the Labyrinthian, and having seen its ability, they coveted its power. Magic clashed with high technology, neither able to overcome the other, both forces being weakened in the conflict. However, magic started to overpower the technology, and as the Federation gained the upper hand to finish the war, both sides were beset by a new enemy. The dragons had returned. So apparently the dragon wars continue. The large beasts launched a brutal attack against both weakened forces. With little other choice, the king offered another truce to fight a common enemy. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Hello, Mascurator. Thank you for coming over and joining us on this quick reading stream. The sagest warlords agreed, and the Affinity War began. Using their technology and the magic of the Tempest, the two forces combined to defeat the Dragon Lord at his spire. This was where Dominus Tor, greatest of the Spartan paladins, killed the dragon's leader with a runic sword forged from the rare and magical metal Arcanium. That's why they're called the Arcane Wars, I take it. With their leader gone, the dragons and their allies were scattered and defeated. For a time after the war, the truce continued. Though there was peace, the sages secretly resented the king for how the war had been fought, feeling he had cost them much of their technology and glory in the final battle. With resentment, war never sleeps long. Now open your texts and we will begin. That's a good setting for how the rest of the book should pan out. Prologue, present day. It is 7 years after the assassination of the king, disappearance of the prince, and scattering of the Spartan paladins. From the fortress city of Massal of York, one of the Northeastern Federation, the Rasium warlord Nemsor Val has led a series of campaigns of dominance over all the continents of Partha. The advance has recently stalled due to the heroics of the surviving Spartan paladins, which have bolstered the allied Federation forces. With this help, the Rasium have been held in check on the Northeastern Federation border of the continent of Ultima Thule. The Federation leaders fell to disarray after the king's death. Infighting and greed had poisoned and corrupted their loyalty. A meeting had been called for the High Council's senior members and governors. Discovering this, the Rasium have seized their chance with the weakness of the governor's leadership. Bribes have been given, deals have been made, and the Rasium are secretly moving more of their power into Ultima Thule. War is still fierce overseas, were fighting in the Isles has stretched the Rasium and their Aun-Ka allies thin. But intel gathered by the Federation says the tides, they are changing. That was my addition to it. Rasium spies may have found information that may end the wars and destroy the Federation and their allies once and for all. They have found the location of the king's last son, Prince. He is the only one who can unite the people of the Federation and open the full Labyrinthian to them. They have found the LOK. And then a quote. Why are humans different? What makes us special? Why? That is easy. Anyone can learn tricks and spells, but what makes us special is our soul. Our soul is what makes us who we are. Defiant, proud, never giving up, and hopeful. These qualities of our soul make us humanity different, and that is what makes us great. And this was by Master Locke Orson, the year 962.13 APT. Guessing Star Trek timelines and dates. Hi Scruffy, thank you for lurking and listening. It's actually my normal lunch hour. Usually I try to have lunch around 3:30, so when I come back I don't really have that much left to go. So I try to take late lunch when I can. Sometimes I take it at 4, but I'm going to try and take it strictly at 3:30 so that I can have a set schedule for you guys while I'm in Los Angeles right now and do the reading. So we're doing the LOK. I'm going to meet the author again this weekend at Los Angeles Convention. So that's why I wanted to get a start on actually reading and not just having him sign a book that I haven't read, just in case he quizzes me on something. And it's appropriate because, it deals with mages and warlocks and paladins and all that low-key D&D, or high-level D&D, and we're actually doing stream readers which has paladins and mages, so I'm sure you can see the connections on it. All right, let's start officially. Chapter 1, Introduction. Sagar Mountains outside of Yorkin, Rasium-controlled province, eastern continent of Ultima Prime. The orange-yellow flare of engines broke the impossible black of the night sky. A ship rocketed toward the Sagar mountain range that loomed ahead. The large frozen mountaintops of the mountains pierced the heavens with the razor-sharp peaks that were covered in snow from the assault they had taken during the winter storm. What these amazing peaks might have been or could have grown into had been washed and worn away from the weather to leave nothing but the cold rock. The same could be said for all this land, now a cold, desolate place where only the few or the faithful could struggle to make a living. The only things here now were death and pain. Even the people that had tried to live here in the high peaks of the Sagar had been forced out of their mountain monasteries to move on from the death brought by the Rasium army that now occupied them. The raven flying over the snow-covered peaks could see the land from its high path high above, floating on currents that couldn't be seen. It twisted in the air as it was battered by the wind, catching the currents and falling with them as it traveled home. Its cybernetic eye rotated and clicked, recording as it watched and monitored the white landscape moving past beneath its pitch-black wings. It had seen the ship pass as well, the heat of the rocket engines at odds with the complete darkness that surrounded it. It's not just over your head. I'm still trying to immerse myself in the D&D world, but if you missed the introduction, we're in a world of paladins and mages and magic. They get invaded by purple aliens who had technology. They're kind of at a stalemate, so they decide on a truce, and then dragons from a previous age decide to start a war again. So the people that have the truce decide to fight together to defeat the dragons. And there's an interchange of magic and technology, but one side is resentful. The king is dead, the prince is in hiding, and a brave paladin is tasked with finding the prince, who is also a LOK or a warlock, a mage, to restore the full magical world and their power. Meanwhile, the purple aliens are plotting against them. That's as much as I've caught so far. The raven had continued on through the falling snow toward the black of night. It flew over the Jotun giants that lived and guarded the ice passes, and other monsters that lurked in the crevices of the Sagar. Nice reference to Thor and Nordic mythology. It flew over the snow and ice below that now covered the once amazing road that led to its destination. Its midnight feathers sliced through the frigid winter air as it sped toward a huge object in the distance. It could see it clearly in the night. Only birds' eyes could. It flew to the Ice Well. Ice Well was a colossal fortress built within the Sagar Mountains centuries ago. Young people of the valleys of Yorkin say that Ice Well came from the mountains and has always stood to remind them that there is always something worse than death's cold embrace. But those who say that are wrong, not about death, but about Icewell's original craftsmanship and what it was initially meant for. Icewell was a monument to a different time, a better time. Its vast walls could be seen by travelers and knowledge seekers from miles away. Its spires and large circular roofs rising out of the surrounding mountains, reaching into the heavens. The people that came here long ago would follow a long, wide, and amazingly crafted road as they walked or rode down the freeway. They were greeted by intricately carved statues of heroes of the old stories on each of its sides, and amazing contraptions that guided them. The road led to runic steel doors, so massive they once had to be pulled open by teams of large Shire and Clydesdale horses. The runic words alone made its huge walls almost indestructible due to the magic tied to them. They were impenetrable to all but the strongest forces. Icewell was built by the greatest craftsmen the world had ever known, the race of Ulthuan, or ogres, as most know them. A race that was in their prime when it was built before the Wars of Nations. When travelers would arrive at the gates, they were greeted with smiles and knowledge and warm tea from the Ulthuan. It was a time of enlightenment, when the Ulthuan were the rulers of this once peaceful land. Their knowledge was a treasure for those who would travel to listen. Centuries ago, the Ulthuan worked with and learned the art of the runes from the Dwargar, and in turn, they taught the Dwargar the use of steam power. Using runic knowledge and their amazingly crafted steam equipment, the brilliant Ulthuan engineers carved the walls of Icewell from a natural cave network in the Great Mountains. Over the years, it grew until it extended for miles beneath the base of the mountains. All the races on the planet found the crafting of the structure a great achievement of masonry. Then, however, the wars came to them, and after being conquered by the Racium, the Ulthuan were scattered and enslaved. The time of enlightenment was no more. Now Icewell is a prison, a place of death and torture, used to deal with the dissidents and political prisoners of whatever faction of the Rasium army is stationed there. The Rasium torturers, under guidance from the sagest warlords, have modified Icewell with their own equipment and devices, installing things from other worlds and mechanisms that can touch the mind. Icewell is now known for its array of creative and skilled torture contraptions. Now, though, these contraptions are powered by Rasium technology as well. Huge pistons that groan and hiss open the massive doors, a hydraulic mechanism doing the work of 1,000 men. The once proud statues and amazing automatons that line the enlightened road have been defiled or reprogrammed to kill any that get too close. The defenses of the walls have been upgraded with the best ballistae, and the cells of the prisoners are now electronically controlled. Legend states that the cells of Icewell could hold any prisoner. Even the dragons couldn't escape its lower cells. Rumor holds that only one man has ever escaped its ruin-covered walls, and it seemed that this story was spread to give the prisoners false hope. Hope that the torturers would take away day after day. But all the items were made to tame or to teach fear. The most dangerous items in the hell called Icewell were created exclusively for the remnants of an army that was nearly rendered extinct by the betrayal of the Rasium and the continuing wars. When one of these survivors was captured, they were brought here, for only here could they be held and broken. They were too powerful to be taken anywhere else. When these prisoners were brought to the prison, orders were not questioned, and security was at its tightest. Even the slave labor of the Rasium talked when one was captured. The rumors of the power and danger of these warriors made the hardiest soldiers weak. A prisoner like that couldn't have been seen for quite some time, and rumors fade without proof. However, it was rumored that they had yet again found one of those soldiers, that he was imprisoned now in the cells below. It was rumored that they had found another of the Spartan paladins. Foreshadowing, I'm guessing this is going to be our hero that is tasked with the mission to find the prince. No spoilers, I'm just reading from the blurb on the back of the book. I'm a little troubled with all the repetitive naming, but I guess when you're starting the book, you have to make sure to name everything as much as you can so that it's clear, you know, what the world is you're setting, so that the reader gets used to it. The raven flapped its wings to gain height as it drew close to Icewell's walls. It let out a long caw as it caught a current and effortlessly glided over the towering ruin protective walls. It flew over the ramparts of the mighty fortress, seeing the few guards standing beside large machine gun weapons and huge long-barreled cannons that sat frozen on the walls. As it passed, the bird could see the glinting frozen icicles hanging from the gaping black maws of the huge mounted weapons. It clicked a picture with its optic eye and continued. It flew to the middle of the fortress toward the keep. The snow was starting to fall harder, and the raven had caught another wind current that launched it to the heavens. As it reached its zenith, it looked down, and something caught its attention. Its cyber optic world and turned, zooming in and focusing on the destruction below. It saw a light in the darkness, a small flicker on the upper ramparts of the wall. The chill of the wind was whipping around a young, retired face. Hi, Odin. Thank you for that sub. Oops, I didn't move this down. Hold on. So you can see see the things on the things. Oh, and I owe you a redeem from last stream that I didn't see until I was checking the other stuff. Hold on. There we go. I owe you some let's see. I owe you confetti. So do you want it now, or do you want to save it for something more important? I want to say I owe you confetti because you just subscribed. So that's why you should get confetti. So thank you for that sub. Snacks. I want snackies actually. I have chocolate, San Francisco Ghirardelli squares of milk chocolate filled with caramel. I sent another of these to Jigo, but I sent him the salted caramel ones. I do have crunchy because I went to the supermarket yesterday with my friend because I didn't get groceries when I got here on Saturday because I was just too tired. So I did get Chex Mix. And it's got the obligatory corn Chex things. Corn Chex, round pretzels, cheese cracker, wheat Chex, square pretzel, and squiggle breadstick. You know, the important part of any diet. And I have Lihing Moi mango, which I tried. I'm not a fan of it. There are some pieces, like if they're really thick, juicy mango pieces are okay, but not as much as I would like. And I have my, just wanted to show you, I have my breakfast stroopwafel Odin. Yeah, I posted it on my Insta stories earlier. This is my caramel stroopwafel. And I also brought with me some Japanese ube cake that I'm also having as like my sweet breakfast snack as well. Oh, why is the stroopwafel square? No, it's a square envelope, but it's a round stroopwafel. It is not a square stroopwafel. Although I'm sure if they make the iron press for the waffle irons for the stroopwafel, they could make them in any shape they want. Cheese and meat in a tube from some buns. Purple root thingy. Yeah, the ube is good. It's nice and sweet. You want crunchy ASMR? Oh, you're moving out. Okay. Oh, the Ghirardelli shake? Yeah, those things are serious. You don't sip those with a straw. That's why they give you a spoon to eat a Ghirardelli shake. I already had the ube today for breakfast, so I'm actually just saving those for breakfast. But I will give you some crunchy, Scruffy, if you really want to hear some crunch. Give me ASMR opening of the bag. So I'm craving salty, and I'll chase it with a sweet. We'll do a corn Chex. If you don't want to hear the crunching, you can mute. I don't know how well you heard that, Scruffy. We'll do some cheese triangles. Very important. And then some spiral bread thingies. And now I can chase my my salty with sweet. Thank you for that, Scruffy. I'm glad my crunching pleased you. Alright, and we're in time to do another battle. I'll finish it offline, but I'll get it started now. And then we can do some more reading in the next 20 minutes. We're not too scaled up by the bots, so that's good. And we put range down, so hopefully we can get the boss now. Alright, good luck. The mic is getting all the crunching. That's all it's getting. Are we gonna do it? Are most of us still alive? Odin, behave yourself. Plus it's also keeps me from actually chewing on in front of the camera. Yay, we won this one. All right, because of the bots, I will assign Brian and Brutus. Thank you for joining. There you go. GG's, everybody. All right, so we beat that boss. We'll move on to the next level. This is my second run through our Cult of the Deep Cthulhu. Look at all my boss kills, and it's still not a Stream Raiders affiliate. All right, Halbert, I will go for the token chest. Hopefully place when I get to the token chest. All right, do I have more to kill? No, I just need to win. Ugh, okay. We're gonna have way too many, but hopefully you guys can help me so I don't lose the next one. Yeah, totally not lurking. You're a bad lurker. No, it's, you know me, I'd like to go for the skins. I mean, that's why we're doing Cyber Monday for the drops today, so you can get your skins. But I guess I could go for the skins. I've already set myself on the path for the token chest. And hello. I think I'm caught up with everybody. Garlic and tomatoes. That sounds tasty. All right, and we'll do this sweet choco after the salty Chex Mix. I also got that Chex Mix so I can bring it to the convention center. He is pretty huge. Actually, he's a former football player. I was explaining at the beginning of stream. He used to play for the Oakland Raiders, and then he moved up to the Seattle Seahawks. So when I met him in person, he's so big. He's just so big. I don't know how else to say it, but he's huge. No, it's his book. He wrote the book. That's why. I don't know what that means, Scruffy. Is that a football term that I don't know about? Melty caramel. Not then. Not when I met him. Maybe this convention will be the day I get to climb him like a tree. Offensive line. Possibly, I'm not sure. I just know the teams for whom he played, but I haven't researched like what his actual position is. Oh my god, it's gooey. Very warm caramel. Oh goodness. I'm hoping I can finish at least chapter 1 in 14 minutes. Right. Alright. So the raven saw something in the wall. A flicker of light in the wall. The chill of wind was whipping around a young but tired face looking out of a dark-colored helmet as the watch guard observed the snow coming down hard, falling hard in the last few minutes. She stuck her head over the edge to watch it fall to the ground, far below, and shivered, pulling her dark coat's collar up. It was night and cold. The day's warmth, if it could even be called warmth, had already gone with the sun, and the night had set in, getting colder every hour. The guard spit over the edge and pulled her head back, then noticed movement and looked to her left. She made out a shape in the gloom of the falling snow and realized it was the watchmaster. The older man was walking toward her, a lamp in hand as he scanned the walls, the armor of his coat's shoulder pads clinking as he walked. "Oh there," the guard said as she raised her hands in greetings. The master looked at her and smiled as he raised his hand back, his thick mustache almost frozen to his line-worn face. "She's frozen," the guard said as she rubbed the thick mounted machine gun weapon she had just checked. She tried to pull the slide mechanism, but it was stuck. "Don't worry," the watchmaster said, chuckling. "There's nothing getting in here, even with our prisoner." The guard could hear the sarcasm in his voice. "Besides, the hall is calling us, and I'm hungry. The next shift is on. I could use the warmth. This coat is doing nothing for me," the guard said as she shivered, a smile coming to her face. They both wore the black helmets and coats of the Rasium legionnaires. The watchmaster's coat was more embroidered in his rank, but still very thick for the cold weather. So apparently they're just purple aliens, but they're humanoid, which is very convenient for most of these sci-fi stories. For some reason, I pictured purple aliens and like octopus and squiddy of some sort. But I guess that's just what I think when I hear purple aliens. The watchmaster's coat was more embroidered with his rank, but still very thick for the cold weather. Both were human, born to the lower regions. That's why. Locals of the area. They were cohorts and pledges to the Rasium, the humanoid, purple-skinned race of aliens that had come to this world not long ago. It seemed not long, but in truth, they had been here too long and were now a great power on the planet. They walked toward the tower that led them to mess hall and the warmth within. As they walked through the doorway, both touched the Ulthwanic rune carved into the stone wall. The runes protected this place more than these two could ever know. They were wards set from before their time, magic wards that had never been broken. All the guards touched them when leaving a shift. They didn't know what the runes meant or how important they truly were, just that they were there. It was a ritual to touch them after a shift for luck. However, the Razium knew their power. It was why they had chosen this place. As the guards left, the wind still whipped and howled around the outside of the fortress. The Arcanium rune they touched, it was dark blue in color. It was frozen with ages that passed as time fled by on its own course, always moving forward, forever frozen, as the cold kept all things around the huge fortress. Until now. The soldiers had been gone for a few moments and hadn't noticed the water on the rune they had touched. A drip of water ran down the length of the 4-inch symbol. Another appeared, and then another. After a few moments, the ice that had refused to melt for so long ran down the rune freely, like a cool glass of water being poured on a hot summer day. Slowly, an orange color started to emanate around the circular rune, glowing as the snow and ice melted from it. It was getting hotter and glowing bright. The Watchmaster was right. Nothing would be getting in the fortress. It was already there. Oh, I know what they're talking about. Hint, it's a Spartan paladin. The raven flying overhead and seen the flicker of light from the rune. See, that's what the raven was looking at. It flew toward the strange soft glow, landing on the ledge of the rampart and hopping over to the hot metal. It turned its head curiously, trying to make out the puzzle of the rune, croaking at it. Its object turned and clicked as it recorded the image it saw. The orange rune pulsed brightly with power, startling the raven. It took flight off the edge, catching an air current and rising to the top of the tower. It landed with a hop on the highest snow-covered battlement where another guard stood. Hopping through a small opening into the tower, the raven went inside, then leapt off the inner ledge and soared downward past the other guards covered in their long coats, scarves, and helmets. It flew past the ogre brute slaves and their masters with their cruel lashes. It flew down to the middle level, over the stone bridges and long gantries on the sides of the walls. The stink of sweat and filth made the raven change its course, altering the route to continue to its master's lair, down into the middle of the well. Oh gee, I wonder to whom this raven belongs. The area called the well was a cavernous hole in the middle of the mountain. It reached down below the cells and other prisoners, deep into the darkness. Few knew how deep it actually went, and those that did wouldn't talk about it or the monsters that lurked there. The raven continued to fly down into the bowels of the fortress, past the shackling rooms and the silent cells, where it was colder and easier to break the prisoners. It passed its master's landing and glided down farther, perching on a rail outside one of the lower rooms. It turned its head to look through a cell door, its eye clicking to record, though it didn't know it. The bird was seeing what had made the rune awaken. The open cell door revealed the man inside, a large muscled man. His skin was bronzed from the sun, and he was lying face down on a raised slab table, his head hanging off its end. His thick corded arms were locked in a set of huge steel manacles, covered in whitish plastic coating. He was unconscious, his jet black hair falling over his face, an unkempt beard hiding his features. Across the cell, the bulbously fat purple hand of the Razium jailer reached down to a stagnant bucket of mop water sitting by the door. It swatted at the bugs and gnats buzzing around the mop handle, stirring them up. Hold on, let me check. I don't think we're going to make it to finish chapter 1. I might finish this page in the next 5 minutes. The stench of the greenish liquid was repulsive, and it didn't seem to have been in use for quite some time. The jailer dipped a bowl into the filthy water and hurled the rancid liquid, striking the huge prisoner in the face. The grit and filth ran down his dark hair and soaked into his beard. He awoke with a start, coughing and gagging, not only from the water, but at the putrid smell. He heard a laugh from the shadows as 2 large figures came toward him and locked goading poles to his shackles. "Time to go, dog," one of them said to the man, who couldn't see who had said it. "Unless you're not done lapping at your water," the other threw in. They both broke out into laughter as they finished locking him in. "Let's go. We need to teach this dog some tricks," said a new voice from the shadows. The Rasium jailers laughed as they pushed the locked prisoner through the door. The watery filth still stung his face, but his vision was adjusting as he was pushed to the next place in this hellhole. As he tried to gain his senses, he quickly glanced around, seeing that there were armed soldiers on either side of him. They were dressed in the dark armored longcoats of the Rasium legionnaires. He was taken to the slab, a massive raised rock platform that had been cut in the middle of the prison. It was a circular pedestal that rose from the lower regions of the prison's depths. It was 20 feet from the walls of the mountain that encircled it, and it had no walls or barriers around its edges, only the inky blackness of the chasm. The one entrance and exit, besides jumping off to certain death, was a single stone bridge that attached to the large steel door in the wall of the mountain. The slab was in the middle of one of the lowest parts of the keep and was reserved for the most hated or dangerous of prisoners. The man that the guards were pushing was both. It was one of the worst places to be imprisoned, and the place that was already the worst place to be in. Rumor had spread through the prison that this man was one of the legendary Spartan paladins, a warrior of myth that the Rasium masters had claimed to have been extinguished years ago. Apparently, this man had been one of the centurions, or squad leaders, a rare find indeed. Just awareness of the goings-on could put the guards in a foul mood, but the rumors that this man could be a paladin made the mood worse. A supposedly unkillable warrior was not a morale booster, but as with all rumors, it wasn't as bad when there was no proof that the man was already in chains, and the man was already in chains. Normally, the Legionnaire guards stationed at Icewell would be on high alert with the rumor of a prisoner of such caliber, but they had heard many rumors, and they were tired and already on edge from the wars in the Isles. The recruiting of the soldiers here to bolster the war forces had reduced the strength of the prison's guard, and tired men were careless. Sorry, I'm going to have to leave you guys on pins and needles to find out what this man with large corded arms. Gee, I wonder who that could be. Maybe the guy in the picture over here. He wrote himself into the books. He's the featured paladin. Is that so hard to believe? I don't think so. All right, out of the corner of my mind's eye, I saw that a certain singer of British caliber has gone live. So I think we can go ahead and raid Mr. Danny JJ14, shall we? And of course, I'm going to have the the stream raiders um, thing on here, and it's like his favorite game, right? Is he a centurion? I don't know. We shall find out. Is he my my brutal centurion? We only raid Spartans. There we go. Don't demean the British over one streamer. All right. I won't, but we will go ahead and go raid that gentleman. All right, if you don't have my emotes, there's that. And then the second one you can use if you have the emotes. You can use my turtle and my pineapple and my tiki raid god. Right. All right. So thanks for hanging out on my lunch hour and like a minute over. So I have to call it. I will be back tomorrow and Wednesday and Thursday to continue reading into the book so we can figure out who this secret Spartan paladin is. In the meantime, go have fun with Danny and say hello. I will catch you guys later. Yeah, we're here. Bye.